Greetings everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. It's album review time. One thing I want to mention, on theneedledrop.com stream a track from the metal band Ghost, who I hope to be reviewing maybe next week. Hoping to review their new LP then. It's pretty good so far from what I hear. Now, I get a lot of comments on my videos asking me to review this album, this song, and by far, right now, the album that I get the most requests of is no, not the new Decemberists or the new Destroyer, but the new Cage the Elephant LP. Thank you, happy birthday. If you know Cage the Elephant already, it's most likely because of singles that have brought them to this point, like Ain't No Rest for the Wicked or In One Ear, which are pretty representative of that. To make a long story short, if you're in the market for some punked out bluesy garage rock, then most definitely check out this album. It was totally reminding me of the Hives, the White Stripes, Beck a little bit, even the Arctic Monkeys, to the point where I couldn't really separate Cage the Elephant from those artists. And sadly, I announced that that problem has transmitted to Thank You Happy Birthday. Instead of hammering out a more distinct sound or a more distinct style, Cage the Elephant has decided to just hop on the bandwagon with a whole different set of sounds. Tracks 2 and 9 here are unmistakably copies of the Pixies, to the point where it almost sounds like Frank Black's vocal. And the song ABERDEEN it sounds like a sped up version of Where Is My Mind, except with more guitars. But the 90s in general kind of seem to be a reference point for these guys on this album. I swear, there are some songs on here that, if only this album were 15 years older, could have definitely been played on alternative rock radio. You know, real hits up there with Machine Head or Smells Like Teen Spirit. But this album also takes hint from the 90s underground too, jumping into a lot of post-hardcore sounds with really noisy, wailing guitars, experimental vocals that I'm usually used to hearing on Drive Like Jehu albums or Dismemberment Plan albums. I'm even catching whiffs of McCluskey. Oh, the irony of this band pounding away on their guitars while they play the song Indie Kids, which basically makes fun of, you guessed it, indie kids. Kind of a modern take on Frank Zappa making fun of hippies on the album We're Only In It For The Money. And as funny, or maybe even as accurate as some of their critiques may be, like, ooh, I gotta get the right haircut, I have to ask myself, are these guys really in a position to be making fun of others who copy or follow a particular style or trend? It's really hard to bunch this album up into one steady explanation. You know, you would like this album if... And that's simply because Cage the Elephant emulates a different sound and changes gears every couple of tracks on this LP, from a strummy guitar waltz to moody dance rock to punkabilly. So maybe it's an album for people who like songs that sound like other songs, or people who don't know what those other songs are. And believe me, there's nothing wrong with having influences. This is not a case of being a rapper and then you coming out with an album and it sounds like rap music. It runs much deeper than that. Cage the Elephant makes music that sounds exactly like that referenced idea, and that's the kind of internal battle that I'm having. I know these guys are not a cover band, and I feel like ripping off and merely referencing, that's a gray area, and where that line is that you will not cross depends upon the person. But I will say, it's not like the songs here are bad. There are a lot of catchy hooks, great melodies, good musicianship. These guys sound really tight together. The recording is pretty dang good. Lyrics that stick in the back of your head as well. These guys drum up original tunes, but they basically use the recording studio like a Xerox machine, copying every piece of music that has ever influenced them. Me personally, I'm at a point where I would much rather be listening to the bands that Cage the Elephant references than listen to Cage the Elephant. But if you're looking for a gateway drug into this 90s alt-rock world, or if these guys have already been your gateway drug to that, then sure, why not? You could do worse. So all in all, me personally, I am feeling like a light 5 on this album. Does that mean you should feel that way? No. And I got so many comments about this album, I assume that you guys will just enjoy the album anyway, no matter what I say. Who cares? If you're enjoying the album, continue enjoying it. So, what do you guys think about this album? What do you think about influences? How far can a band go to copy an influence without it becoming a rip-off, quote unquote? And what should I review next? Anthony Fantano, Cage the Elephant, Thank You, Happy Birthday, Forever.